Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. A viewer on my last video with Mount St. Helen mentioned that they would like me to visit Birmingham, England, where he's from. So I am here at the Birmingham airport, and we're going to do a quick fly around of Birmingham, England. And let's see if he can recognize anything in the flight from his vantage point. Obviously, things from the sky doesn't always look like what it looks like on the ground, so things are not necessarily going to be the same. But let's see if we can get some nice views of the city and potentially help him spot something that he can actually recognize. Ooh, alright, off we go. I am going to go ahead and retract flaps and gear up. So this is Birmingham Airport, and once I get a little bit of altitude, I am going to go ahead and move this plane towards the city itself. Now, one thing about Microsoft Flight Simulator with cities is that it's not that accurate on the small stuff. And that's not surprising because there's just simply too much stuff on the map for the computer to be able to track visually very clearly. I'm having a little issue here with controls. Bear with me here. So most airports are on the outskirts of town. So I am going to go ahead and fly towards what I would consider to be the center of the city, but let's circle from the outskirts in so you can see more. I'm very fascinated when I fly over these cities, and if these layouts are accurate, it's fascinating how different cities around the world, how they develop and how their housing and buildings are laid out. Because in older cities like those I've seen in Europe, and also a city like Philadelphia that's been around a while, you get a lot of streets that are not necessarily laid out straight. Versus if you ever go to the Midwest of the United States, those cities, those streets are all laid out perfectly straight. It's like a grid. But look here, I mean, you can see twists and turns, buildings every which direction. Look at that. You know, little side angles and stuff. That kind of layout makes it difficult to navigate on the ground. I mean, if you're driving through a city like this and you don't know where you're going, you can get turned around and lost really fast. And it's also a sign of older cities that, you know, some of these streets have been around so long that the newer stuff just developed around it rather than having the entire city re-laid out from the ground up. So I am flying over what I would think is a residential area. Lots of row homes, it looks like. A little bit reminding me of Philadelphia row homes, although they're broken up a little bit overall. Looks like I'm kind of flying out of town now. What is on this side? Oh, looks like some industrial complexes. There's a major highway right there that probably leads in and out of town. Let's go ahead and turn our way back towards the city. This looks like a major industrial complex of some sort, or it might be like a shopping area. But look at that. Look at that. That is definitely something that's going to show up on Google Maps. See these big buildings like this with their bright roofs? I guarantee you they show up on Google Maps. In fact, let's take a look on Google and see if I am in fact flying over where I think I am in the city, or at least I'll try to find it. Let's go ahead and active pause the game and let's look at Google Maps. And right here I am looking at Birmingham, England on the map, and I know I just took off from here and I kind of curved over towards the outskirts. So looks like I actually flew out this way possibly and then did the curve this way. There it is. There's some of those big buildings, and now it looks like I'm heading straight down this way. Huh. So that is your DHL Jaguar or Jaguar cars. And then looks like this will, if you follow the highway, which is M6, so that's the M6 I just flew over, it'll lead us into center of the city. Let's go ahead and go visit Center City. Let's pause. This definitely should be what it looks like in some sense on the maps. And that's M6 right there under us, so I'm going to follow M6, and that should bring me straight into probably the business center of Birmingham. It looks like there's some high rises there, so that makes sense. Again, it is about 2:30 p.m. in the United States where I am, and given the hour differences, it's late afternoon in England. And it looks like the time and weather is also accurate. This is using live weather right now, so if it was raining there, it would be raining in my game. So flying right over M6. 5 miles northwest of Birmingham. Okay, let's curve over. I don't know if you can spot anything from this view of something that actually stands out enough for you to be able to say, yes, that is Birmingham. I've driven past that. I mean, this looks like a major exit here from M6. This must be some kind of landmark. There's a nice little lake there as well. Wow, Birmingham is not small. This is a decent sized city. Okay. Oh, that looks like a big building. That might be something important in Birmingham. While it's not marked as a landmark, a building of this size and shape certainly would be recognizable if you're from that city. All right, let's go to what I would say is likely the business district, because that's where usually the high rises are. Let's fly over this real quick. The sun is setting, but it's also beautiful. Again, with a small plane like this flying low, you can get more of a feel for a city. If I ever go to England, now I have a feel for how it may look if I go to Birmingham. And this is just what makes this so wonderful to fly in this game, is that you're literally going to someone else's city. If somebody tells you, hey man, take a visit, you just turn the game on and take a visit. Sure, it's not exactly what it looks like in real life, but you get a feel. And with things like major landmarks, you really get a much better feel than even looking at it from the sky or satellite view from Google Maps, because you're actually flying over the entire city. Wow, this part looks like it has some tight streets and densely placed buildings. Just amazing. This is a big city. Big city, definitely not a small one. But you know what's interesting? If you compare what are considered decent-sized cities in the US and England and other parts of Europe, and then you go and you fly over something crazy like Tokyo, it puts things really into perspective just how much more massive the Tokyo city and surrounding suburbs are. I mean, there's no way to even see to the edge of the city when you're looking at Tokyo. And you can see Mount Fuji from Tokyo, so it's actually kind of a fun flight to take off from Tokyo International and fly to Mount Fuji. We may do that. But right here again, this is Birmingham. What's interesting is if I can pinpoint specifically on the map a specific part of the city you can actually maybe fly over someone's house. Yes, that is kind of stalkerish, so I'm not going to do that. But it's just that it's kind of cool. Even in Philadelphia, I was able to find my actual house and fly over it. So it is possible, and some of the details really are that accurate. Although with something as dense as this, it's hard to say that it would be that accurate. So again, this is a flight over Birmingham, England. Now let me go ahead and take my airplane towards the Coventry Airport that I was supposed to go and land at, and see if I can, or I can successfully land this thing on my own. But I'm not going to torture you with the entire video of me getting there and trying to land. We'll just go ahead and call it here. I'm going to pause it real quick because this will allow us to do like a little circle around view of Birmingham from the air. That is just cool how these houses are. Look at that. It's like spirals. That is cool how those houses are laid out. But I wouldn't want to have to navigate as a taxi driver anywhere in this city. It would probably make me crazy. Or an Uber driver for that matter. Very cool, very cool. Well, that is a quick little tour of Birmingham, England from the air. Thank you for joining me on this flight. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And feel free to comment or point out things that I totally missed or don't know about as far as Birmingham. And if there's some kind of major landmarks I should fly over in this city, do let me know so I can make future trips and try to fly over them and really get a better feel. Once again, thank you for joining me in this flight on Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'll catch you again on another flight. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.